Hello and welcome to Hardcast. Who are we gonna call? Dr. Mirage. I'm Humphrey Erm.
And I'm Christian Claus.
Lifeline. Give me the Death-Defying Dr. Mirage Volume 2 Second Lives.
Okay, so these issues were really hard to summarize. So I'm just going to give you like the basic points and leave out a lot of the like small stuff that doesn't really matter. Okay, here we go. Issue 1. Hwen and Shan have this scroll that can give Hwen a corporeal form again, but sadly it was burned in the fire from last volume. So they set out to Barcelona, where there is another scroll. They meet friends there who have a house full of ghosts that also somehow is kept alive by the ghosts. There are a bunch of different characters that had so little screen time, but seemed kind of important, like a guy who had a seizure and gets visions of the future. One of the living residents of the house goes into their archives to find the scroll. But when he opens it, a ghost is released, forces him to kill himself, and kills a bunch of ghosts that were in the archives as well. The main person of the house, for whatever reason, blames Shan for the death of the guy and the death of all the ghosts, saying that the house is now at risk. The ghost from the shell, now released, takes over a body at the airport and starts on his mission.
Can you really kill a ghost?
Well, I mean, that's what they were saying.
I know. And we know what happens at the end, so.
Yeah, but still, I mean, come on.
That was just one of those funny things where you're like, killing a ghost, like, wait, what?
Can I just say, this comic was such a chore. I mean, holy shit. I've never felt more like this was work than before. I mean, I gotta say, like, I don't know. I've been trying to think about, like, why didn't I like this comic? Because it has all the aspects that I should like. You know, I kind of like this whole mystery stuff. I like a little bit of, you know, whatever, all this kind of stuff. I mean, they have a lot of the elements. And I feel like my problem with it is that it's so much explanation. Because that's something that you can't really do the show don't tell thing with this kind of ghosts and magic. Because you have to explain a lot of the rules. And that's why I think I like science fiction more than these kind of mystery ghost story kind of things, is because with science fiction, there's certain things that you can kind of assume because of a very basic knowledge of physics and all that kind of stuff, right? But with these ghosts, I mean, they constantly have to explain what they're doing, why they're doing it, and what's going to happen, so then we can be surprised when it goes wrong or whatever. And I feel like after reading 4 issues of this, it was just, oh my God, I mean, it was just horrible.
Yeah, no, I see where you're coming from, and I agree with the chore part. But I gotta say, I felt this volume compared to the first one of Dr. Mirage.
Well, technically, this is the volume 1.
Yeah, I know it's a bit odd with the numbering.
Yeah.
But I think it's sort of a mini-series thing. So, like, each one is its own mini-series rather than ongoing.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't think there's anything more of her after this. Or at least not, like, her own leading title.
Oh, thank God.
So, but, I don't know, like you said, I think I like the elements more, so to speak. So that's shown through more than the cluttered mess, I guess you could say. Because again, for me, this volume in particular, for me, seems like it'd be the pilot for the show, that CW show that's been rumored, well, not rumored, but mentioned.
Yeah.
Like this would be a whole episode, this whole volume, because you have like the sort of like the cool opening with that shows off like what's going on. You immediately kind of get the gimmick, like, okay, it's a husband and wife, but the husband's a ghost. And it just, I can see like so many adventures with this setup.
Yeah, well, again, I think this works much better as a TV show than as a comic because as a TV show, I don't mind having a lot of explanation going on, which is kind of counterintuitive, I think, a little bit because, especially in TV, you want to show, not tell. But my problem with this is just that, I mean, in a TV show, you can have action happening and people explaining. You can have the Pope in the pool. You have that whole idea, and you can stay interested while they're giving you this really dry information, especially with like this ghosts and magic and stuff like that. You can always do something creative, something that looks interesting and whatever while she's explaining or shouting at Sean or shouting at Hwen or whatever, and just kind of constantly like no, we have to do this because this and this and this, and then while everything is exploding around her and there's smoke everywhere and stuff like that, that would be cool. But here, you're always, because I mean, I didn't really take time to appreciate the art because I was just trying to get through it. There were so many, I'm just amazed that they managed to get any artwork in between the speech bubbles. I mean, there is just a wall of text all the time.
Yeah, I mean, look at page 14, the first panel there. They cut off the background to fit in the text.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's just like a stylistic choice.
Yeah,
No, but I agree with you. And that's actually an interesting point you brought up because I was about to interrupt you earlier when you mentioned the whole Pope in the pool. How that doesn't really work here. And I was kind of like, oh, well, it's not like it can't work at all. But
for the listeners who don't know what a Pope in the pool is, it's a screenwriting device, I guess you could call it. I don't know.
Term?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, this happens a lot in Game of Thrones when they have to give across a lot of dry information that a lot of people would get bored with. So while they explain or while they're talking, they do something interesting so that people are interested by it. So in Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones, they do it a lot with naked people. So people will be having sex or Daenerys will be walking around naked or in a bath or something like that while they're making some sort of military plans, and then people are interested. And another one was in Game of Thrones as well when someone was, I think, skinning a deer or something like that.
Yeah, it's the Tywin Lannister in the first season.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's an example of it. So while they were talking about their military strategies, one of the two of that was skinning a deer. And it was just so graphic that people would be interested in it and then obviously not lose concentration. So that's a device. The idea is just basically if you need to give something boring, put the Pope in a pool and people will be so distracted by the fact that the Pope has a pool and is in there that, they'll stay concentrated.
Well, so summarized. But the thing, as you kind of explaining there, and it's very true, because it's hard to do that in both prose and the comic.
Right.
At least anything that revolves around text. Because as you were saying, you weren't even paying attention to the artwork.
No, of course not.
It's like, it's large amounts of text. There's not like a very, and again, I'm not going to say it's necessarily wrong, because if you're going to have a very talky like subject like this, it's just what happens. But you can't have the whole thing where it's like an interesting panel while they're talking, because you're not looking at the panel. You're looking at the, black on white text and speech balloon.
Right.
Or the other colors they were using throughout the volume. So that's a very interesting take in terms of what I guess we would say is a weakness with like the comic medium. Though I guess it's shared with prose.
Well, that's why I feel like comics is something that lends itself to action more than anything else. Action and I guess comedy as well. I mean, like that's why there's so many like web comics, like Saturday morning comic strips and stuff like that. Because you have these short pieces of text and I mean, obviously, yes, there have been stuff made with drama, but it's usually, I mean, again, a lot of action because that's what you want to see. You want to see these great drawings of these strong men and women fighting things. And honestly, I was when I was looking at this and reading this, especially because this time I was reading this stuff on the train on the way to work and back, because I had like no time this week. I was just reading this and thinking like, man, it would be so much easier if I could just read a book, like read this as a book, and and nothing would have been lost. But that being said, the artwork is amazing. It has a really distinctive style, and it's really nice. I loved what they did with color in this. But so much of it was just, I just passed over because I was just like reading the text so much, because it was just so much about just getting forward the story and just completing another page, and just like, oh, I'm all right. I'm getting closer and closer and closer to just finishing the issue.
Oh no, I definitely agree. And I was just double checking here now. It's the same artist from the last volume, but I think they've really improved between the volumes here.
Honestly, I can't remember what the
It's the same
last volume
style,
looked
but
like.
I feel in the first volume, it's a lot messier, I feel. Like, it, for me, there feels like it's sort of hiding things with the messiness.
Okay.
Like, it's kind of like how I feel myself with most art. The sketch looks nicer than, like, the final piece.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like they're trying to keep the sketch in as much as possible rather than, like, conforming to something. Like, what's called settling on something, like making a hard decision. But here I feel it's a lot more, it's just very clear, everything. So a nice angularness. So, and as you were mentioning with the color, it's all just using, it's very monochromatic. Like what does the scene need in terms of like a certain color scheme?
Right.
And they kind of stick with it, and then any change or addition, really like it stands out.
Yeah, and it's all connected to theme, which again I just totally love.
And easy to do without making it, since we were kind of putting comics down earlier, I'd like to point out the strength here, where even when you're trying for something semi-realistically drawn, in terms of like proportions and such, there's not much caricature in this volume.
No.
But in doing so, you can play around with color more than you could in live action without being as distracting.
True.
I mean, unless you make it clear that it's like in a like a nightclub, and that's why these lights are on everywhere. It will just be weird to have scenarios where like, whoa, everyone's suddenly, where did this light come from?
Well, I mean, obviously you can do it with tints and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah, but it had to be
there's
much more subtle then, I feel.
yeah, of course, of course.
Unless you make it like a big point, like like the Sin City movie, where you like make it very clear to have like, okay, it's black and white, but then we have these like colors on some subjects or
Well,
something.
no. I mean, that's not what's going on here. I mean, they're basically just different color schemes that are present in the world. I mean, obviously,
Yeah, no,
the
but I
whole
just mean in terms of the way you present it. Like you can present reality, so to speak, in a comic, like in an illustration, without it being like you're not taken aback, is what I mean.
yeah, I know, but I mean, I know what you're trying to say, but I mean, just take the first scene where they're outside and inside. The outside is completely blue, and the inside is orange. I mean,
Mm.
that's how light works in real life. And I mean, there's this thing on a camera is called white balance. Basically, the idea is that you tell the camera, you point the camera at something that is white, that is 100% white, and then you're telling the camera, okay, this is white, so make this completely white, and then it changes the settings so that that's normal. But then sometimes they will stylize it and keep it a little bit bluish or keep it orange just to kind of give it a sense. They did this a lot in Breaking Bad. I mean, I never watched it, but this is a nice way where you can differentiate between locations a lot. They usually do this like if you're filming in Manhattan or like in New York, you usually use more of a blue tone, and then when you're filming in somewhere like in LA or something like that, they use an orange tone, just because that's kind of what the feeling is of the cities. And then if you go through all these things, I mean, when they're outside, it's all bluish. Then inside it's orange, and a lot of the blue orange color scheme going on here, which is a very normal thing. And then of course with the sunset where everything is yellow and a little bit of red, like the shadows are all red. In Barcelona, everything's kind of grayish, and then when they go into the shadows, when they go into the alleyway, it all gets again bluer, which is more of a cool color because you kind of feel the coolness of the alley. And then you go into this green area where it's a little bit, whatever, you know, not real because it has all those ghosts in it, and then it becomes yellow and all this kind of stuff. So it's very typical kind of color theory, which you can also do in film, and it is done in film quite a lot. I mean, most people don't notice it, I don't think, but
Well, that's
yeah.
what I mean, though. It's more like of enhancement rather than like what would you say? I mean, I guess I think you're right. It's just I guess for me the difference would be here that it's just more stark. I guess like it's
Well, I think it's something that you don't really see in comics a lot.
I guess it depends. It's
I mean, I feel like in comics you usually see something that's very white balanced. So, white is white. There's no bluish white or orangish white in
mm,
comics a lot. Um, unless, I mean, I think we've had a couple of comics on here that where they've kind of shown two different locations and it's been a different color. Like I do say this a lot, especially when there's like dream sequences or when it's like the past or the future, all that kind of stuff. It always helps to have a different color scheme.
mm.
So I think we see it in that. But I mean, obviously with this, it's more of flat colors. Maybe that's the right word.
That's probably it. There's not much of
It's not a hue. It's just flat colors.
yeah, and that makes it pop more. So that's
Right.
why we notice it. I mean, you have like backgrounds that are just one color rather than just be a background that has been color, like what's called color corrected.
Right.
Either way. But again, then going on to the story part, I just feel here with the first issue, the setup just works. Like this in particular too, even though it does have like a overarching story, you could say. Like they have this goal to make him more corporeal.
Yeah.
But I just like the fact that it's an adventure. Like this whole volume is just an instance of something interesting happening with this setup. Like even at the end, I didn't feel like this was, now everything's changed for Doctor Mirage. I wonder how the next adventure will be because of that.
Right.
And that's also what I was referring to as this feeling like a good episode. Because yeah, it just I think there's something about sort of this supernatural kind of like ghost stuff because you get so much bang for your buck with that topic. I think because along with the the supernatural fantasy aspect, you also get all this cool history stuff. Just because they're ghosts, and that immediately just makes it so much more fun. Like, ooh, there's this wedding taking place in a church, and now it's got ghosts who are residing there. Just seeing like their different outfits and such, and like commentary. It's just so much fun, and I really love Leo. I'm not sure how you felt about him, but it's just so much fun having this agent guy there,
Yeah.
just constantly seeing like the TV angle of everything. And I think they balanced him just right where yes, he's a bit pushy, but he doesn't come across as purely selfish either, I feel.
Mm.
As Dr. Mirage says at some point, if it's in this issue or the next one. But he has helped her by keeping her kind of going after he died,
Yeah.
as well
He
as
feels he feels like he's a huge fan of them.
exactly, but also pragmatic.
Right. Right.
It's like, ah, man, I know he's there. I believe you. That's not the question, but we can't film him. We can't film your husband.
Right.
So how about we have an actor play your husband? And it's like, ooh. Again, he doesn't mean anything by it. He's just thinking, like TV. And I don't know. I just love the dynamics going on around here. It's like I said, if they go for this, if this is like their basis for the CW show, I'm definitely gonna give it a try.
Mm.
Because in that case, it's just the execution that I think matters. Because the core, I think, like the setup, is perfect. Issue 2. Ghost CSI is starting up after the literal murder-suicide of Gustav. Mirage finds out that the perpetrator is a Denis DeVault, or Dennis DeVault, some 1920s guy who performed a ritual that led to the death of an actress, and he himself was murdered by his own translator. Turns out he managed to put himself into the scroll that was unleashed in the previous issue, and now he has the ability to kill other ghosts. Mirage and Wen need another copy of the scroll, and the only available one belongs to the guy from the first volume, Linton March. Mirage isn't keen on going back to the guy, but she has no choice, and meanwhile, the vault keeps killing ghosts, and Leo, her agent, is talking with an actor to play Wen in the show. Mirage meets March, a bearded recluse now since the last volume, and with the help of Wen, she manages to get the scroll from him. While they're home, Leo and Alex visit, and the vault confronts March due to him wanting the scroll as well. Again, stuff like this too is... I like when there is... I like it when you have like a concept that we recognize, but it has an extra element to it. In this case being like this sort of crime scene investigation, but with this supernatural twist to it.
Crime-solving devil.
Lucifer?
Yeah.
It's
just funny because the theme song to it is da na 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 na, right? And then in one episode he took a bass and he started playing the song. He just sang to it, "Crime-solving devil, don't overthink it." Right? No, it just makes sense. Don't overthink it. Something like that. No idea. But it's fun. Great series. You should watch it.
Yeah, I know. You said so. It's on Netflix.
I have it all.
Here.
Next time you come. No, it's not on Netflix. It's on Amazon Prime.
No, it's on Netflix here.
What?
Yep.
God damn it.
So it pops up every so often.
The Nordic Netflix is so...
It's really weird. Because Amazon Prime is here too, so...
Yeah, I know. It's just so annoying.
Either way.
Anyway, I'm gonna force you to watch it when you come over.
Sure thing.
Same with Baywatch.
Yeah, sure. That's
such
just,
a good...
Well, that's again a shorter time commitment, so I don't mind that. But yeah, anyway. No, it's just kind of cool with that stuff there, because I like it. Like, did you ever see The Conjuring?
No.
Because in The Conjuring, they have this cool professionalism with the main characters. Like, whenever they inspect the house, it's like very professional. Like, without the sort of like the, what would you say, like the comical bent of like Ghostbusters. You know, where they're like more of a, Ghostbusters is like a pest control.
Yeah.
But with The Conjuring, those two, I'm not sure if they were priests, but they were religious people at least. It's like really cool the way they're like inspecting and like asking questions. It's all serious. They're not being like, "Are you sure it wasn't just the wind?"
Right.
Like it's all kind of, okay, could you tell if it was speaking in tongues or not? And the same thing kind of here where everyone here knows it. Everyone here, accepts it. Especially in this case where everyone is like involved with ghosts. So just kind of cool when they try to use these kinds of tools to figure things out. So like I've seen that too in some fantasy novels where they have like necromancers and stuff.
Yeah.
And that will always be part of the like police procedural. So like they'll try to like revive the dead body. Like you can't do it forever, but you can maybe like get the soul and see like, okay, who did it? I mean, of course, they always have to have some twist to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the iZombie. Did you ever watch that?
No, but I know of it.
It's also I love it too. She can eat the brain, so she's a what is she? She's a I forgot the name for it. Coroner, yeah. And she's a vampire, a zombie, so she eats the brain of the murder victim, and then she kind of becomes that person, or like gets the personality of that person for like a certain amount of time. And it's so hilarious. And again, that actress is so good because she just can so quickly just like be this completely different person, and it's so believable. I don't know, it's just great.
Nice. But yeah, that's the whole thing, and that's of course the kind of the amusingly enough when you have something like that in like a story, suddenly you don't get to see all the times it actually helps.
Yeah.
You only get to see the adventures where even with this it doesn't work. But in this case, of course, that's not the issue, about who did what. That's not, the mystery. They just need to know who it is, and from there, they figure it out, like what to do. But I don't know, just neat, I feel. So, and I did forget about the original guy from the first volume. So I was a bit unsure with some of the stuff. They're like, wait, okay, what's this going on? Like with the ghosts haunting him.
Yeah.
But then it's like I rechecked and I was like, oh, right, right, right. Because he betrayed the Mirage by like keeping things from her. So that's just you put that punishment on him. He's not too bad. I mean, he has a bunch of dogs.
Right.
No man could be evil if he likes dogs.
Of course not. I don't know. I mean, there's not really much to say about this. It's just like it's kind of like this when it feels like these issues are just kind of to hold us over for a little bit. I mean, I didn't necessarily get a lot of information out of this. I mean, I think the only thing that's important here is that they figure out that if a ghost goes into a book, they can like absorb the knowledge of the book. And that's kind of what what's his name? DeWalt.
Oh, DeWalt, yeah.
DeWalt is able to do. And that's why he just speaks in these hieroglyphs. And I don't know, I mean, again, like with the guy with what's his name, March, I had no idea who that was anymore. It's the typical thing. I mean, especially if they change, like you said, now bearded. I was like, oh, what? He didn't have a beard before? I totally forgot who this guy was. I mean, when she was complaining about having to go to him, I was like, oh, okay, so this must be some sort of backstory that they had. And again, this is just a problem with how much time is in between the reading of these comics. And again, maybe if we did this professionally, like if we did this like as a proper podcast with adverts and everything, maybe I would make the effort of rereading the issue beforehand before reading this one.
Yeah, just to remind yourself of okay, right?
Yeah, just to get all the But the way that it is now, it's just so crazy how like it's been like months since our last time we were here with Dr. Mirage, and yeah.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like this would work really well as a TV show. You could even do the entire volume in a TV show, even like a 45-minute TV show, because you can really dense it down. I feel like they do elongate a lot of stuff. You can just kind of condense it, and then you can have a nice little 45-minute pilot.
Almost definitely.
Would you rather have this as a pilot or the issue, the volume before?
This, because the volume before would not be representative, I think, of the show.
So you would want to have that volume somewhere in the middle where they kind of go over the origin story kind of thing.
Yeah, either you cut to like which seems to be so popular these days, the flashback.
Cut back to the island.
Yes. So back to the well, it's not so much about back to the dead side, but
in the before time. Literally, wouldn't that be great? If in the TV show it just said before, like in the top left corner.
Yeah.
Just so I could scream at the TV.
So 5 minutes later, from what? Before or now? 5 minutes later from. No, but the thing is, with the first volume, as interesting as it was mostly her in the dead side trying to find the Wen. And again, that's cool and all, but that's not what the whole like series is going to be about. Her wandering there, and he's not present for most of it either, besides the flashbacks.
Right.
So this, I feel, in terms of selling people on the concept and like the characters, it just works really well. Again, like because this is a point too. This is the first time I read it because I wasn't so fond of the first volume, so this is one of the few I've sort of skipped.
Ah, okay. So now we agree on something.
Yeah, well, in terms of us reading it together, so I don't have like past knowledge of it. Like, oh right, I remember this now, or and I haven't had a chance to change my mind either, like I've done with some volumes, both good and bad.
Right.
But it's just nice. I feel just a really fun. Yeah, it's just a really fun adventure. So I'm really enjoying myself reading this volume. Like again, it's a little dry, as you were saying, but the concepts are cool. The characters as well, for not being like for not having like exact superpowers or costumes. They're all very distinct. I feel both visually and character wise. Like I'm not mixing people up. There's no Peter Stanchik problem.
Right.
Like it's very clear. I mean, even things like Wendon with his like jacket and the mark on his forehead. Simple things that we know that if we ever see other artists drawing him, we'll know it's him. And even stuff like even if I don't like remember Linton March much, how he is here then with the beard and this like coat and stuff is like, yeah, it's that guy. Like I can kind of refer to people by their looks. So I feel that's always very impressive when people can do that with less elaborate like styles. It's not like an anime thing where you can just give people like really extravagant, like clothes or hair. It's like all very real looking people, but they are so distinct and I can remember them. I don't know. It's just something I really like.
So, do you have any thoughts about the idea of the ghost of Huen going into the actor?
Yeah, it's just a really again. I like it when you have a scenario like this that doesn't exist in the real world, but then if it were to be like what's the protocol? I mean, we can discuss further in the next issue too, because what's called with the guy wearing his clothes. It's like so insensitive, but the idea then of when being jealous, because he mentions that at some point, like, why does he look so good in my clothes?
Right. Right.
So there's an interesting kind of I don't know, just an interesting sort of like not a love triangle in that sense, because I don't get the impression that Alex is in love with the Mirage. I mean, just an actor wanting this gig. So, and as an Asian man, I don't think he gets many gigs.
Oh, come on.
No, but even that alone would be kind of neat as a TV show. Like I recently watched, like yesterday.
You know that they're just going to whitewash it, right?
I hope not, but we'll see.
Seriously, I don't think it's going to be an interracial couple.
Yeah, well, I don't think she. I mean, is she Asian? Like, I didn't get that impression. Like, he's Asian.
Yeah, but I think she is too. I mean, her name is Shan. I mean, that sounds very Asian.
Is she? Huh. I don't know. It's hard to tell with the style and the hair.
Yeah.
But yeah, she has blue hair, so she must be an anime character.
Right, exactly. So what were you watching?
Yeah, no, I watched Tomb Raider last night, the new one. So, and really like this actor. I think his name must have been Daniel Chu or something. Or Daniel Chan. I can't remember. Daniel something in the credits. But he was such a delight in the film, playing a character called Lou Ren. It's like a guy who gets Lara Croft to the island. But man, it's just like I really hope to see more of him in some projects, because I don't know, it just he had this like leading man like material. I felt
Daniel Wu.
Was it Wu?
Oh my God, that's the guy from. Oh my God, he's one of my favorite Asian actors.
Oh, really?
Do you remember when we watched the new Police Story?
Oh, he's in there.
He's the bad guy in that.
Damn, nice. I'm glad he's doing something.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't realize that he was. I didn't realize he was in that.
My point was basically someone like him. I think could work really well as playing Wen.
Oh yeah.
So, but the thing there too is, and again, I don't know. I don't want to bring in these kinds of concepts as just like that's all that matters or so.
I was actually thinking the guy who's the Korean actor.
The Heroes or
no, the Korean actor who played the guy in the zombie thing, Walking Dead.
Right. I only know the character's name, Glenn,
Yeah, I can't remember what his name is
and I
now.
never properly watched the show either. So
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know. Again, maybe it's the role he has there, but he feels a little too boyish there. I feel, but that might be he was younger then. I don't know.
Mm.
Like that's like he always came across as, again, not a kid because he was an adult, but he seemed like early 20s at most. But again, I just like the idea there with the whole, as you were kind of bringing out from the get go about you know him possessing the body. Again, it's just such a thing. Like you don't have that discussion with anyone. It's more like how we'd have this discussion of like would you rather or
Yeah, but it's one of those things where if we put it in terms of like, yeah, it could be something like a sexual assault, basically, or something like akin to a rape or something like that. You know what I mean? Where you're entering someone's body without their consent or whatever.
yeah. But
Um,
consent is what they discuss though. Like I mean, they
yeah,
do mention that they call possessing crashing in this volume,
right.
but they point out that even if they consent, it's still like an iffy thing, which I could agree with. I mean, it does sound kind of weird.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I mean. It's just like, um, it's kind of like one of those things where I also didn't really think about this much, but I was listening to a podcast recently, and they were talking about the first interracial kiss on television between Uhura and Kirk. And these two guys who were talking about it, they weren't like Star Trek fans, and they were talking about how you could hear they were talking very happily about that kiss, and then they were talking about how you can really hear the passion in the voices of the characters, and then like the idea that the two of them, they I mean, they felt very comfortable, as like the actors also felt very comfortable with each other. And then I was just sitting there going like, oh god, no, come on. um and then today, on the follow-up episode after that, they actually got an email from one of the Star Trek fans saying like, guys, I'm assuming you didn't see the context of that episode, but they were being forced to kiss each other. Like that was the planet that they were on had like some sort of telepaths, and they
Yeah.
forced them. But then she used this phrase, or she used this word. She said that they sexually assaulted each other, and I was just like, I mean, I was kind of like, you know what? She's not wrong. I mean, they basically did unwillingly kiss each other. I mean, not, assume like one of them was like, uh, if we kind of think of it in our terms, like one was holding down the other and kissing them, that would be a sexual assault or a physical assault kind of thing. But the idea that the two of them are doing it to each other, I mean, I like the idea that we use terms to kind of then explain it, so we kind of understand the type of thing it is. And I would maybe maybe see this whole crashing thing as somewhat of a physical assault or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, most definitely. But in that scenario, then what do you do? Do you arrest both of them?
Well, you mean the Star Trek one?
Yeah.
No, you
Nah.
arrest the person who was forcing.
Yeah, no, but again, we certainly have like things we can compare to, and that's what we can do in this story. So, and it's fun as an experiment, like a thought experiment too, with these scenarios. But I really like this because it's just like I really like Mirages, and I just like saying Mirage because just like I'd rather say Superman than Clark Kent.
Mm.
Like Mirage and Hwyn, I really like their relationship. Like it's lovey dovey enough, so it's not like you wonder why they're together. But I also don't get this feeling of like everything's perfect. Like even beyond just the fact that he's a ghost and stuff. I don't know. I just really love Hwyn's. What would the word be? Not strictly emasculation, but just the whole idea of like, oh, I'm here, but I can't touch her, and show her how much I love. And
Yeah.
then there's this guy who's really good looking. I can't help it. Like I'm sure he's very jealous, and I'm sure he knows, his wife loves him and all that. But I guess you just can't help but wonder sometimes when that guy's there. Like,
Hey, technically, till death do us part, so they're not technically married anymore.
Oh yeah, so I've always loved the good jokes about that.
About death, very nice summary.
No, I've seen fun like sort of like dirty one-panel gags, and like I wouldn't call them adult magazines, but just sort of like dirty magazines or something. But I saw this one that was really hilarious, where you see like husband in heaven like flirting with another woman. So it's like his wife looking at him angrily and go like, "Now, now, honey, we both agreed till death do us part."
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, he's like, "Yeah." Like, what's the legal stance on that?
Take it up with God. Issue 3. Hwen translates the scroll as best as he can, while the manager and the actor roam around the house. DeWalt tries to get the scroll that the Mirages have by taking his possessed body to the house. Before this, the couple goes to the place where DeWalt died, because that's where he needs to go in order to come back to life. At this tennis club, which was built on top of his house, they meet the ghost of the woman he killed, who gives them some info. They get a text that there's trouble at the house, so they rush home to find the actor possessed by DeWalt. There's a kerfuffle and they refuse to give the scroll to him. He leaves and Sean transports Hwen into their scroll so that he can learn the scroll as well as DeWitt. God, it's just so complicated. So much weird stuff happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of sort of back and forth and
Yeah.
confrontations that don't necessarily like they change things, but it's not like physical.
Yeah.
Like that confrontation there doesn't really lead to anything. I feel like I mean it is important that it happens. You know, we learn things, and the vault himself learns stuff. So, but the fact is, like everything still kind of had the way it was in terms of who holds what in terms of like
Mm.
magical items. Everyone's still alive, and everything is the same as it was. I don't know. It gets a bit weird when you don't have like I guess a more firm material change,
Yeah.
when it's all just like a knowledge based.
You know, I've been watching Dragon Ball Super lately, and I had forgotten how much Dragon Ball really stretches things. Like, just ridiculously long. And I've gotten quite good at finding when people are doing this. And I feel like this is an example of it. Like this whole confrontation here where DeWitt comes to the house and like takes over the body and stuff like that. I don't think anything here was necessary. Like nothing was gained, nothing was lost. It was just it's literally went back to the status quo. I mean, the only thing they learned in this entire thing is where they would have to be in order to defeat DeWitt. But honestly, otherwise they could have just surprised him there. You know what I mean? Like I don't see. Can you see anything in this issue that was big that changed that they couldn't have like quickly put in like the whole meeting of the ghost, like the woman that got murdered? That could have been at the beginning of the last issue. Like they go to the house, they know that this is where he's going to go because that's where he died. They go in there, they don't need to scout it out or anything. They go in there like an hour early or 2 hours early to set up, and then they meet the ghost and they talk to her a little bit and like, oh, okay, well, he's coming soon, so let's get ready. And then that's it. There's no need to go back to the house and fight for anything.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. But like I said, it's more about knowledge. Like you're mentioning about knowing where to go with that stuff. But it's also little things like Alex, in a sense, gets a lot of what would we call it? Not necessarily like character development, but he learns about the whole concept of crashing and gets to kind of experience it, and doesn't mind like helping later.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So I don't feel it's unnecessary, but yeah, like I said, it just doesn't feel like there's a physical, or like the word I use, material.
Yeah.
Because usually with these kinds of stories where you have like a magical MacGuffin thing, it's a lot of like tug of war with it. Like, oh, now I have it. Ah, no, I have it. Right. So, but in the end, it's like, no, we're all kind of where we were. Like it's kind of like Saturday morning action show setup. Both sides have like things they want from the other, and at the end, it's kind of the same as it was. Like the Legend of Zelda cartoon or like GI Joe stuff. Like it's always just this perpetual status quo, and it kind of has that feeling here where like there's a confrontation, some action, but in the end, nothing really material was gained. What were your thoughts though on the art shift? Because I don't feel it worked quite as well here as it's done in other like comics.
I just realized there was an art shift.
Oh, so I guess you did notice.
I did not. I mean, now that I look at it, it's very obvious. Oh wow, it was an art shift like in the middle.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not like
Holy
how they.
crap.
It's not like how they usually try to do it. Like okay, it's a different artist for the flashback.
Whoa, like literally just in the middle, it just suddenly became like straight lines and good like proper inking, not any stylized sketchy stuff.
Yeah, it's very traditional. It suddenly goes traditional.
Oh man.
So I mean, the closest they kind of try to get by theming is that it's right there at the house. But we haven't had that earlier in the previous two issues, so it's not like you could have it be like a consistent style choice.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Again, it's not terrible or anything. It's just yeah. But regardless of that, there's some fun things. I love the sort of censorship, I guess you could say, on page 17.
Yeah.
When he's about to say his what's called hieroglyphics.
Say his hieroglyphics, yeah.
I mean, again, I've seen that done quite a few times, but it's so nice to see, I feel. Because, I don't know, just such a clear device in terms of, no, she's, talking over him. Like her note was louder than his saying things.
Yeah.
We couldn't hear it. And even then with the arm, which is a bit more abstract, I guess you could say. Well, actually not, I guess. I mean, she's literally shoving her hand in his mouth. It's just, I don't know. I just love that stuff when you play with like speech balloons and other like comic conventions, especially when you can do it in a non-comedic way. Because like comedy comics can do that a lot. Like, I mean, you read Zits, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That was a fun like week-long arc where Jeremy says something stupid, and then his speech balloon just hangs in the like air for the whole week. So like he's like, yeah, I remember now. It was like, "Hey Sarah, you look pretty today. Thanks, but let's go. But I'm not too proud of all my freckles. Oh, I like your freckles. They hide all your zits." And they are just hanging there throughout the whole week, and it's just great. It's like, what's going on over here? I said something really stupid, and I was just hanging above us all the time.
Oh man.
So and then he said something even worse later. So what was it like having your parents divorced?
Ugh.
And it's just both of them hanging. He can't do anything, and it's just. But again, for comedy, it works easier to do stuff like that. But here, I like it because it's just kind of like an abstract visualization of what's actually happening when this medium isn't available to us. The sound medium.
Yeah.
We can't hear her saying nope to like overshadow his speech, or to actually hear him trying to say it again and go. And again, I just love that. I love it when you work within limitations and strengths of your medium. So even if it was kind of odd to see this art shift, like it was very competently done, like the art itself. It's not like it was necessarily like shifted to a worse art style. Just different.
It's so weird. Why would that happen? Like,
I'm thinking it's what's called schedules. Like I'm assuming that the main artist didn't have time.
Yeah.
So and then they had to get someone else to like fill in the blanks, and I'm sure they did a lot of like thinking, like how to split it up. Which is why it was done the way it was. Like, okay, can you do this like sort of whole outside scene? Then I'll do that page that's in between there. That's still at the tennis club, and then I'll finish it up so we don't like end on the wrong note, so to speak. So,
Yeah.
Issue 4. Mirage sends Wen into the scroll in order to find a stronger power to fight the Vault. He manages, and the crew leaves for the tennis club, where they set up for the exchange. The Vault is surprised at Clara being there, which throws him off, but they go through with the ritual, though with an alteration. The Vault notices it, however, and possesses Alex in an attempt to kill the others. But Wen's new powers let him counter his. Alex and March's remaining ghosts push the Vault out of Alex's body, and Wen forces him to barf out all the ghosts he ate. A portal into the scroll opens, and Wen is ready to sacrifice himself, but Clara insists she does it, since she wants revenge. The evil is sealed, and everything is more or less back to normal, with Mirage and Alex on the set of their new show, though perhaps there's more to Alex now after his brush with the supernatural. I gotta say, with the second page of the last issue here, if we want to have like Valiant characters be equivalents to other like DC Marvel ones, then Dr. Mirage is definitely the Valiant universe's Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Now, I guess the whole this weird dimension that he's entering inside the book and stuff. That's like, oh yeah, that's just like from the early Doctor Strange books. Just all these weird, strange things. But yeah, I mean, there's not much to really. It's like the same things just continuing.
Yeah, like usual.
So, and it's for the most part consistent, though it has a better split than last issue, I feel, with the art. Here with having it be like at the TV station. But again, that's what I like, though. I like this angle with the the whole idea of like filming it all. I don't know, it just makes it so. In a funny way, it kind of like grounds it. Like I like the fact that even though it's all about the supernaturalness and ghosts and spirits, I like the idea of them filming it for the normal person.
Right.
Like this is kind of like, yeah, we follow these guys. It's all real, but then Leo will try to, put some pizzazz into it just to make it more appealing to the viewers. And even like the whole creative differences there too, with Alex mentioning that he's not actually her husband. It's like, no, we can't say him up front that he's an actor. So this is television. People expect actors. So we just need to set it up right. So I just like hearing that. It's just, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm working on a TV show right now, and it's just kind of fun seeing the way it's actually done.
Wow, what a way to drop that into conversation. I have experience because I'm working on a TV show right now.
Humble brag.
Yeah. Wow.
No, but just kind of fun because it's all there with that stuff. They're like, how do we tell the story? How do we do it right? Again, not that I'm doing that part of the production, but it's just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this angle to it all.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about because I am also very, very, very creative in my job. I definitely do not just sit in front of a screen, push pixels back and forth until someone says it's good.
Honestly, Chris, that's exactly what I'm doing too.
Yeah.
I mean, in essence, there are pixels on screen, and I move them around, and now they're different.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I just like stuff he even mentions here, like when Mirage and Wen are like just hugging each other.
Yeah.
They haven't done the title stuff yet. What about a little animation with Ghost Me next to him?
Do you know how much that costs, Wen? Ask Humphrey, he knows. He's an insider.
I'm kind of surprised though, because I thought that was actually going to be a thing. I thought they were going to make either borrow or make other lenses like that woman in Barcelona had.
Right.
And make that for the cameras. I'm actually a bit disappointed that wasn't like a thing.
Okay, maybe it doesn't work like that.
I'm sure that's easily explained. That no, it has to be through the human eye that you see it.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Wouldn't that be crazy if like people would know that technology existed?
That's true.
And then, yeah. I mean, could you call it technology? I mean, it's just a glass lens. I don't know.
I'd say it's a technology.
And what else? Oh, yes. I'm pretty sure people would see that and then be like, it's all fake. Just like what was it when the Tesla was up in space? People said it was fake, and Elon Musk was also like, look, it's not fake by how fake it looks. Because if we had faked it, we would have made it look way more realistic.
That's definitely true.
No, but it is so true, because we've seen so many movies and everything. We kind of have this way that it's supposed to look, and then when it actually happens, you're like, because no one knows what it actually looks like. No one's done that before, and then we see it and go like, fake. That's not real.
Yeah, but exactly, it's kind of stuff like that.
So DeWitt has been beaten. He's been, as you said, he was banished into the other realm. And what's up with the actor?
What's up with Alex? Like, I don't think he's appeared again. I mean, we are catching up to where I've been dropping off. So I'm gonna have to catch up myself if I want to be ahead of you in that sense, if I care enough for that. But I don't know if this has become more of him, because I'm not entirely sure if it's supposed to be that he's gonna be a villain, or if it's just that he has innate powers now.
I mean, he looks very villainous in that last panel.
Yeah, but I don't know, I just don't. I mean, it's not like I know him very well, so it's not like, oh, it'd be so out of character.
Oh, really? Your inside scoop doesn't tell you anything about Alex?
Nope. No, but it's just kind of, how would I say, like, it's obviously a setup for something. Otherwise, it's like it's terrible to end on something that's not going to be brought up.
Yeah, of course.
Look at you in the Incredible Hulk movie.
What? Oh, because of the guy at the end?
Yeah, I mean, it's so obviously supposed to be the leader. His brain starts growing, and it's like, like such a setup, and then nope. It's fine. It's fine.
Can you just imagine the actor for that was like, oh my god, what if he appears in the Infinity Wars?
If then I'll what's called take it back.
Wouldn't that be hilarious? Like, I mean, just as like he's in the background, like Thanos comes down, and then he's just there to like he's helping him out with the calculations or whatever.
But he doesn't recognize Bruce Banner.
Yeah, he's like
he's not the same actor.
Wow, you've changed so much over the years.
It's the gamma radiation. It's changed you.
Oh man.
No, the worst scenario ever there though is with the guy who plays Rhodey in the first Iron Man.
Yes.
I feel so bad for him at near the end of the film when he looks at the what's it called, the War Machine suit.
Yeah, he's like, next time, maybe.
Yeah, and I was like, nope. Sorry. Sorry, Don Cheadle's gonna take it from you.
Yeah.
Nah, again, this is fine. It's just I like teasing stuff like that, and that's kind of a huge weakness of cinema, though. Well, not cinema itself, but like these big movies. You can't just have things happen the way you want because contracts, actors.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they put all those actors now in these movies on such long, contract lists so they can keep them for all the sequels and crossovers. So on that pay, I guess, as well. Because, like Robert Downey Jr. is getting more and more expensive to keep on.
Yeah.
So, again, that's what I like about things like comics and such. Because, unless you have like a really high budget guy, like getting like Alex Ross to, paint your comic, or just a really high sought after offer.
I love how you said it was paint your comic, not draw, because it is literally a painting.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it is. I mean,
yeah, I know.
Now it's I don't know. It's just it's kind of nice to have where you can just have whatever's going on. I mean, you remember me making fun of Civil War all the time, as much as I like that movie. Civil skirmish.
Yes, dude, you've made that joke, I think, like 5 times on this podcast alone.
On the podcast alone?
Yes, I think you at least 3 times. I swear to God. And you've only said it more off the podcast, and it's just every time we bring up Civil War, it's like it's like civil skirmish. It's like, we get it, Humphrey. We get it.
You sure I can repeat it?
Oh my God.
Anyways, but yeah, I don't know. But honestly, yes, I mean, we can tell that even if I didn't, dislike it as much as you did.
Well, I didn't dislike it. I mean, again, I would love to see this as like a TV show, but I just feel like it's such a chore to read it because it's so much description of what they're doing. And just like, as I said, I could read it as a book and nothing would have been lost. Like, I'm not even saying like rewrite it as a book. I'm saying just give me the dialogue in prose and I would understand what's going on. With no scene descriptions, nothing, I would kind of know because they explained every last thing. Everything was told.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have nothing more to say on this.
Yeah, I think we've gone through most of it. I mean,
it's a good comic. If you like reading a lot, check it out.
Yeah, but if you're also like into this more sort of supernaturally stuff, where they kind of have to explain things and figure things out and follow the rules. It's always like that stuff when you have like all these like occult things and you have to follow the instructions.
Yeah.
So
you can discuss this episode on Reddit, tweet us, or you can follow us on Facebook. Also, all of our episodes are available on our hosting site, Podbean. Links are in the show notes. Catch us next time for
Ninjak, Volume 3, Operation Deadside. We're keeping with the dead, ghost spirit theme these few weeks.